Imagine driving past a lake you've seen 100 times, only to discover it's been hiding a chilling secret beneath the surface for decades. Or uncovering the locked home of a seemingly ordinary man, only to find out he's anything but. And deep in the heart of a dense forest, where sunlight barely touches the ground, investigators stumble upon something so horrific, even seasoned officers couldn't speak about it without trembling. Today, we're diving into 3 terrifying true stories from history that feel more like horror films than reality, but every detail is disturbingly real. Buckle up, because these tales will stay with you long after the video ends. Deep in the heart of South Dakota, where the plains meet the whispering pines, a mystery lay sleeping beneath murky waters for over 4 decades. 2 young women vanished without a trace until a drought peeled back the earth's secrets, revealing a tragedy frozen in time. This is the story of Cheryl Miller, Pamela Jackson, and the Studebaker that kept their final moments hidden for 42 years. May 15, 1971. Cheryl Miller, 18, and Pamela Jackson, 17, 2 teenagers from Yankton, South Dakota, were buzzing with excitement. A Saturday night party awaited, a chance to dance, escape the weight of final exams, and soak in the fleeting thrill of youth. They told their families they'd be home by midnight. They never arrived. By dawn, panic set in. Their families scoured the dirt roads near the Missouri River. Friends combed fields, calling their names. No ransom note, no witnesses, just an eerie silence. The local sheriff chalked it up to teenagers gone joyriding. But this wasn't a joyride. It was the beginning of a haunting enigma. September 2013, a historic drought parched South Dakota. Water levels in the James River Basin dropped to unimaginable lows. And there, in a forgotten tributary near rural Ravenna, something grotesque emerged. A 1960s Studebaker lark flipped onto its roof, half buried in silt. Authorities were called. Inside, they found debris, mud-caked seats, a shattered windshield, and human remains. Not 1, but 2 bodies, trapped in the back seat, entombed by time. Among the bones lay a clue, Cheryl Miller's purse, its contents decayed but identifiable. The cold case roared back to life. DNA testing confirmed what the decades had tried to erase. The girls had been here all along. The investigation pivoted. This wasn't abduction, it wasn't murder. It was a nightmare of physics. Sometime after leaving town, the driver, unidentified, likely a friend, lost control on a rain-slicked road. The Studebaker plunged into the creek, flipped, and sank into 3 feet of water. The impact jammed the doors. The girls seated in the back were trapped. Medical reports suggest they didn't drown. The cold, shallow water likely preserved their bodies, but the crash itself broke their lives in an instant. No one heard the splash. No one knew to look here. For 42 years, their families clung to hope. Pamela's brother later said, "We thought she'd walk through the door any day." Instead, they got a call. "We found her." The truth brought closure, but not peace. In 2014, both women were laid to rest in Yankton's Riverside Cemetery. No headstone marks the driver's fate, a reminder of how quickly life can vanish. The creek still flows, the drought passed, but the scars remain. Locals say not to linger near the water at night. Some swear they hear laughter echoing from the trees or the faint hum of a radio playing in that long-dead car. But the real horror isn't the supernatural. It's the randomness of it all. A missed turn, a patch of black ice, and 2 futures snuffed out before they could begin. Cheryl and Pamela's story isn't about monsters. It's about the fragility of the road we all travel, and the secrets that wait, patient and silent, beneath the surface. Next, we delve into a tale from early 20th century Hungary, a story of charm, deception, and a secret so grotesque it would curdle the blood of even the most hardened soul. This is the story of Béla Kiss, the gentleman of Budapest, and the butcher behind the barrels. In 1903, Budapest was a city of elegance and ambition, and few seemed more respectable than Béla Kiss, a dashing, mustachioed entrepreneur who ran a thriving tin business and hosted lavish parties that drew the crème de la crème of Hungarian society. Women swooned over his charm, neighbors admired his success, and life, it seemed, was a grand affair. But beneath this polished veneer lurked a mind obsessed with control, greed, and death. Kiss's true passion, however, wasn't business or pleasure. It was a meticulously crafted scam. Under the alias Hoffman, he placed ads in newspapers, posing as a grieving widower desperate for companionship. When vulnerable women responded, often widows or divorcees seeking a fresh start, Kiss spun a web of affection. Letters turned to meetings, meetings to promises of marriage, and promises to demands. He convinced his victims to transfer their savings, jewelry, and property deeds to his name, assuring them it was for their future together. But love was never his intent. Once a woman had nothing left to give, Kiss struck. In his secluded home on the outskirts of town, he'd seize her, sometimes with bare hands, sometimes with a rope, and squeeze the life from her body. Then came the true horror. He'd make a precise incision in her neck, draining every drop of blood into a basin. The corpses were then dressed in their finest lingerie, curled into fetal positions, and sealed inside steel drums, filled to the brim with methanol, a chemical typically used for industrial fuel. A macabre attempt at preservation, perhaps? Or a sick ritual to keep his companions with him forever? Now, you might ask, how did no one notice? They did notice. Kiss's property became a forest of suspicious barrels stacked like sentinels. Locals whispered, "Why so many? What were they hiding?" But in an era of burgeoning industry, oddities were often dismissed. "He's storing gasoline," they said, "a clever man, preparing for war." Even as the stench of decay occasionally wafted from his land, no one dared pry. Respectability, you see, is a powerful cloak. The truth only surfaced in 1914, when Kiss, now a soldier in the Austro-Hungarian army, vanished. Rumors swirled that he died in battle. Seizing the chance to repurpose his property, his landlord entered Kiss's home and found the barrels. The first lid creaked open to reveal a bloated, pickled corpse, its eyes wide with eternal terror. The stench was unbearable, a rot so profound it clung to the air. The constable was summoned. One by one, the drums were pried open. 24 women lay within, preserved in a grotesque tableau of death. None had been reported missing. All were unidentified. And what of Béla Kiss? Did he perish in the trenches of World War I, his sins buried with him? Or did he vanish into another identity, another town, another nightmare? No record of his death exists. No trial ever took place. He simply disappeared. As for the women, their names lost to time, their remains were quietly buried in unmarked graves. Only questions remain. How many did he truly kill before 1914? And how many more might he have ensnared had war not interrupted his grim hobby? So next time you hear a tale too perfect to be true, a wealthy bachelor, a lonely heart, a sudden inheritance, remember Béla Kiss, for in the spaces between charm and cruelty, light and shadow, monsters thrive unseen. Deep in the heart of southwestern Nigeria, where the dense forests of Oyo State stretch endlessly, lies a place that time and humanity seem to forget. This is the story of a man named Kazim, a motorcycle taxi operator from Ibadan, whose desperate cries for help in 2014 unraveled a horror hidden in plain sight. On the night of June 2nd, 2014, Kazim received a call for a ride. 2 passengers needed transport to a remote area near the Ibarapa region. It wasn't unusual. Okada drivers like him often navigated the outskirts of the city, but this trip would vanish him into the shadows of a forest that locals whispered about in fear. Hours later, friends began receiving frantic text messages. "I'm trapped. They won't let me go. Please help me." The last message read, "I think I'm going to die here." A search party formed at dawn. Armed with machetes and flashlights, they followed Kazim's last known route into the bush. What they found would haunt them forever. It was like something you would see in a horror movie, not something anyone would ever expect to see right before their eyes in real life. There was a decaying compound hidden among abandoned construction buildings, its air thick with the stench of death. Inside, the walls wept with decay. Rotting corpses lay stacked like firewood. Skeletons adorned the floors, their bones picked clean. And shackled in leg irons, more than 100 emaciated survivors huddled in silence, their eyes hollow, their skin clinging to bone. The forest stretched for 15 kilometers, each meter a graveyard. Body parts littered the undergrowth. Shoes, travel bags, passports, driver's licenses, all belonging to those who had vanished over the years. The building, once a construction site, had become a macabre marketplace. Authorities later revealed a chilling truth. This was no random den of thieves. It was a factory of flesh, where victims were tortured, murdered, and dismembered for body parts sold to fuel black magic rituals. Residents nearby knew the forest's reputation. They'd heard the screams at night, saw shadowy figures dragging bundles into the trees, calls to police went unanswered. Officials dismissed the area as a youth hangout, until hundreds rioted outside the gates demanding answers. "Where are our missing?" they roared, burning tires and looting evidence. Kazim's body was never found. But the forest still guards its secrets. Today, the buildings stand empty again, reclaimed by vines and silence. But the question lingers. How many more souls were bartered for superstition? How many pleas for help were drowned out by indifference? In the shadows of Nigeria's forests, one thing is certain. Hell doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Thanks for watching. If you found these stories interesting, please like and subscribe for more true stories like this and more. Sometimes the past deserves to be remembered, even when it doesn't want to be. Until next time, please stay safe out there, and as always, stay curious.